Hello everybody, and a little bit of music theory here. I'm going to show you how major chords are constructed, okay? And why this is important is because then you'll be able to understand how different chords and different keys use the same structure, even though they might be different notes, okay? So what I'm going to do is construct a C major scale. Okay, so since that's the easiest one, no sharps or flats, we're going to go right across here and build all the way from one end to the other. Okay, so C to C. Now, in order to make a major chord, you're going to need what's called a triad. Triad, three. In other words, you're going to need three notes. Okay, now in the major scale, it's always going to be the first, the third, and the fifth. So we're going to need this one as our first. We're going to need this third right here, and we're going to need this fifth right here. If you play all three of those in unison, you have a nice happy C major chord. Okay. Now the same is true when you work with any other scale. Okay. So if I have a G major scale and I'm going to play a G major chord, okay, now that's the next one. So there's only one sharp in this guy, happens to be the F sharp. Guess what? First, third, and fifth note, okay? So it's going to be, get my red marker here, first, third, and fifth note right there, okay? Put those three together, get yourself a nice happy G major chord. Take the next one, which has two sharps, D major, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, and then the C sharp. Okay, probably recognizing the pattern, right? First, third, and fifth. You need the D, an F sharp, and an A in order to make a successful D major chord. You're probably thinking, well, if I'm only going up to 5, why do I have to write out the rest of them? I'll show you that in a second, okay? When we do a little bit of a bonus after this. So if I write up an A major, you have these sharps and flats, so here you have 3 of them involved, right? Hey, guess what? First, third, and fifth. You need the A, the C sharp, and the E note in order to make a successful A major. And then pretty much the last one that we're worried about when it comes to this kind of music we like to play is an E major. And this one's going to have 4 sharps, and sometimes it can trip you up if you're not used to doing it, which I'm never really comfortable. But looks like it might work out this time. Okay. So there's my 8 for my octet. I need my first, third, and fifth note in the scale in order to make that particular E major chord. Okay. Now, some instruments can only play one note at a time, but the ones that we like to play can play more than one. So that's the wonderful thing about strings, is that you get a harmony sound out of it, right? So if I play a C major, if I hold down a C and I play it, okay, so you'll end up with a C, E, another C note, okay. If I hold down a G, nice happy G note, there's my G note right there, there's my B note, and then I have a D note underneath. Okay, I can do the same thing with a D major, so I would have my D note right here. Here's my F sharp, and I can hold an open A, nothing wrong with that, just like so. Or an A major, or an E major. But all you have to do is you just have to have those 3 in any particular configuration, but that's another video. Okay. The one thing that's a bonus is that if I'm talking about playing a tune that is a 1-4-5 structure, okay, and we're going to be in the key of G, okay, so that means we're going to play G, C, and D is what's going to work out for us, right? Now, you could probably play along and be like, okay, C's coming, and then it comes, and then you're like, ah, there it was, I missed it. Okay? So that'll happen quite a bit, especially if you're playing and you're not really familiar with the tune that might be around in a circle. So if I play G, and then all of a sudden there's the C chord and I missed it. Okay. Well, that's where we can do a little trick with a 7th chord. Okay. So a 7th chord, all it does is adds in the 7th note on your scale. So it's just a flatted 7th. And all you're looking to do is take and add this note right here and then make sure you flat it. What does that mean? Okay, well, take a look at all of my chords here. So if I'm playing a G major, which I want for my song right here, okay, that G7 is going to lead you, and it's going to lead your ear to a C chord, okay? So in order to transition from a 1 to a 4, you'll hear a lot of 7ths to tell everybody, here it comes, okay? So if I play a G, a nice wholesome G major, and all I want to do for that 7th chord is I just want to flat the 7th note, okay? Well, I'm already holding G, C, and D, so I need to introduce the flatted version of that right there. So here's my G major, there's my 7th note in my scale. I want to flat it and I want to put it in here. So what's the flat of a sharp? Now it's the natural. Okay, so I need to put an F note into my G major to make a G7. Okay, so if this is a G major right here, here's a G7. Okay, and what it'll do when it's in working through your tune, it will tell you when that 4 chord's coming. You want to hear it again? So if I just do a basic 4 count, okay, and then I'm going to put a little bit of G7 in there, and it'll tell you when that C's coming. Ready? So this is all 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and put a 7th. It'll always lead you to that 4. Okay, and the same's true if you're going from a C major, which in this case, if we're playing in the key of C, and it's going to be a 1-4-5 tune, that means I need C, F, and G. Okay, now to transition between the C and the F, I need that C7, which means I'm going to take the 7th note right here and I'm going to flat it. So in order to get this proper sound, I need to find a B flat and put it into my C major, and that's a proper C7. Okay, so between here is a nice natural C, and if you're playing along, and then all of a sudden everybody goes to F, and it's like, oh well, there it was, I missed it. Well, sometimes you'll hear a 7th and it'll tell you it's coming. So you play a basic major and then you play the 7th version. There it is. It will lead you right to that 4 chord every time. Okay? Same thing if you're in D. If I want to play a D7, I'm going to take the 7th note, I'm going to flat it. The flat of a sharp's the natural. So I'm going to play a D, D7 to a G. It applies through the whole board.